Hi, I'm Shannon Godwin from Ag Solutions Australia, and in 2017 we held an equine nutrition seminar with the keynote speaker being Dr. Nerida Riches from FeedXL. Now, forage is really important for horses, so the following video features Nerida discussing the nutrients that forage supplies to horses.
We'll move on to the importance of forage. So forage, if I say forage, it just means hay, pasture or chaff. Plays many important roles. So we'll go through each of these in detail, but there's supply of nutrients, gut fill and buffering, gut bacterial health, which is getting more and more research done on it, particularly in humans, vitamin production, hydration, and mental and physical stimulation. So it's a really important part of a horse's diet. So we'll look at the first one. It's a source of nutrients. They're a rich source of nutrients and they're capable of supplying most, if not all, of a horse's calorie and protein requirements, depending on, of course, what that horse is doing and what the quality of the forage is, but we'll come back to that. They're a good source of some minerals, and we're going to be talking about that later as well. It's very much cart before the horse or horse before the cart sometimes in these seminars. Green forages are a rich source of vitamins. So if you've got green pasture, you're guaranteed that you're going to have a lot of vitamin A, vitamin E, and a heap of B vitamin in that pasture. Really important for gut fill and buffering. So you just saw how big a horse's gut is. It's really important to keep it full. Because if it doesn't stay full, it just opens them up to all sorts of problems, colic being one of the main ones. So to start with, they fill up the stomach and stop the acid from the lower part of the stomach splashing up onto the top part of the stomach and causing ulcers, and we're going to talk about that a fair bit later on. It provides the fibre and the bulk that keeps the hindgut full and reduces the risk of colic. And forages are chewed extensively, so especially hay and longer pasture gets chewed extensively and encourages saliva production, which then buffers the stomach. So the stomach becomes very, very acidic if a horse isn't eating fibre. And when you feed them hay, they chew and they salivate, and it raises the pH in the stomach so that if they do splash a bit of acid around, it doesn't burn them quite so badly. Some forages like lucerne are also thought to have buffering capacity in their own right, which is why a lot of you have probably been told to feed lucerne before you ride a horse to buffer the stomach and reduce the risk of ulcers. And if you haven't been told that, I'll tell you later on tonight, and then you will have been told. So gut bacteria health. This is from this paper that was published in 2015, and there's hundreds of papers on this type of thing published now, but this particular paper said it's now well established. This is talking about humans, not horses, but I think we're pretty safe to say the same thing is going to apply to a horse. It's now well established that a healthy gut flora is largely responsible for the overall health of the horse. So who in the room has heard about how important your bacteria are to you and your health? Your mental health, your physical health, your immune system. That's basically the way that your brain talks to the rest of your body, is through your bacteria. So there's all this really neat research being done at the moment in humans, and it has to be the same in horses, in that a healthy gut bacterial population in a horse is going to mean that you're going to have a healthy horse. So a healthy gut bacterial population is essential for fibre digestion, because without those bacteria in there and the right bacteria in there, your horse cannot digest fibre. They produce a lot of vitamins. They influence the immune system. So if their bacterial population is out of balance, then it's likely that your horse's immune function isn't going to be very good. Normal gut function and maintenance of gut wall integrity. So when you've got unbalanced bacterial populations, what they notice in humans and also in horses is you get this leaky gut wall that lets things into the body that should never get out of the gut. So things like bacteria and things that will just cause your horses grief, including whatever it is, and they still don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it will cause laminitis in horses when you've got acidosis occurring in the hindgut. They're important for normal behaviour. And an unhealthy bacterial population may be associated with reduced fibre digestion and poor feed use efficiency. And I can tell you with 100% confidence that I see this a lot in horses that are fed a lot of grain and have poor gut bacterial balances. They just can't digest fibre, and they lose weight really regardless of how much you feed them. You'll see behavioural changes. You'll get obesity and insulin resistance. They've shown this in humans that certain bacterial populations in a human gut is then associated with obesity and insulin resistance, which I think is fascinating. You end up with vitamin deficiency, and you likely have reduced immune function. I'm saying likely because a lot of this is shown in humans, but we haven't actually shown it in a scientific published way in horses. And there is much we don't know, but we do know that you have to have a healthy gut bacterial population. So forages are also important for vitamin production. So when fermenting fibre, the bacteria in a horse's hindgut produce a whole bunch of vitamins. So they'll produce vitamin B1, which is really important for appetite and for behaviour. They'll produce vitamin B12, which of course is important for red blood cell production. They'll produce biotin, which most of you will be familiar with. It's important for your hooves and also for coat health. Vitamin K, which is important for bone health and blood clotting. It's bad if I'm doing that this early in the night. B2, B3, B5 and B6 are also all produced in the hindgut, and they're important for a whole host of metabolic functions. So a horse can't mobilise and create energy for its muscles if it's deficient in those vitamins, for example. So you'll get a really sluggish horse that just feels like it doesn't have any get up and go if it becomes deficient in any of those. Low fibre diets may restrict bacterial vitamin production and then contribute to vitamin deficiency. So if a horse isn't getting enough fibre, there's just not enough food, I guess, for the bacteria to then use to produce the vitamins. Forages are really important for hydration. So fibre loves to hold on to water. Who's stuck beet pulp or copra meal or soybean hulls in a bucket and then put water on it and seen it go? Has everyone done that? Yeah, most of you. So that's just fibre's love of water. So I think sugar beet pulp will hold 6 times its own weight in water. It loves to hold on to it. And that's why they swell up so much. So in the gut, fibre holds on to water for the horse until the horse needs it. So it acts as this little reservoir of water in the gut for the horse to draw on as it needs. And was there any endurance riders in the room? No. Oh. So in an endurance horse or even a polo horse, anything that, or a working stock horse, that goes out, I think we worked out that our horses probably were doing 40 k's or more in a day when we were out mustering on big mustering days. So, they need a reservoir of water in their gut, and if you're not feeding them enough fibre and they don't have fibre to hold onto in their gut, they become dehydrated quite quickly. Horses on low fibre diets, I just said that can't hold on to water and at risk of dehydration. So the last one, but probably one of the most important ones, is this mental and physical stimulation. So who's got fat horses like me? I'm not ashamed. Well, sometimes I am. Yeah. Right. So the hardest thing I find with fat horses is getting them to lose weight without sending them crazy, standing around doing nothing and not having anything to eat. It becomes really difficult. So they are, has anyone noticed, horses are eating machines? They just eat and eat. There's a reason the saying exists that he eats like a horse, because they just don't stop. So almost their entire life is devoted to eating. Finding and eating high fibre forages like pasture and hay provides crucial mental and physical stimulation. And if you think about where horses evolved, so in Mongolia and in the really, really dry, rugged parts of Europe, they would travel for miles and miles and miles every day just to find enough food. So it was that constant foraging and seeking and eating of these really poor quality fibres that kept them mentally and physically stimulated. And now we have them quite confined and eating much better quality forage, and they get really fat, and we have to restrict their intake, and then it reduces this mental and physical stimulation and starts to cause issues for them. So horses on low fibre diets are more prone to boredom and unusual behaviours like cribbing and weaving, box box walking or fence walking, and just generally being miserable and bored. And it's perhaps one of fiber's most important roles, but one that is frequently underestimated. So it's really important that horses do always have something to chew on, because they're driven to eat. That's what their whole evolution over however many millions of years has been pointed towards that single thing of you need to go and eat.